All right, everybody, we are back, and we're gonna have Magkey taking on Genesis. We're actually moving into the semifinals of Group A in the winner's side.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
Yeah, Magkey's running he's running Mage, Shaman, and Warrior. We see him actually start here with the Shaman, and he drew patches as well.
Oh,
Genesis is going to be running Druid, Warrior, and Warlock. We saw Genesis earlier take out Ray C. Remember in the first match.
yes, yes. Genesis showed a very solid understanding of his decks and the meta in general. So, well, it's good that he's made it through to the semifinals.
Yeah, I really like that. Coining out the 4x right there, pretty strong play. Also has like going to future turns, Buccaneer, and upgrade. That'd be pretty nice. So we saw he's playing a bit more of an aggressive Pirate Warrior than some of the older builds that we've seen more recent. The dragons and things like that.
Yeah, it's kind of clunky for Magkey. As we see, he's drawn patches, and he also has a bunch of overload spells in his hand. So it'll be interesting to see how he sequences his plays going forward. I really like hero powering there.
What do you think about that play there, playing the Raider, because feeling like they has more time after seeing the Shaman hero power?
Yeah, you just want to develop it now. There's only one charge left on your war axe, so this allows you to play the berserker and maybe get a trigger off of it, as opposed to saving it for upgrade.
Some interesting choices here. You could just like throw out Buccaneer and Salcy and upgrade,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
you don't necessarily have to use the charge on your war axe, but we see he's just gonna smack him in the face here.
Yeah, definitely not worth using it on a 1-1.
Yeah,
It's not something you really want to get into the habit of. And right here, you do know your opponent is overloaded, and you're the one pressuring, so you might as well like put some pressure on with that
yeah.
Warx.
It leaves Magkey with a little bit of initiative going forward because he can use the patches to clear, or he can just hero powers here, which is very good as well.
Gets the taunt too, pretty strong in this matchup in particular, and just the board state in general, what we have.
That was the payoff that he
Yeah.
was looking for because it gains him 4 life as a
Are we
result.
gonna hit it here? Because we're gonna play Reaper next turn,
With
right?
Arcanite Reaper on deck, I would
Yeah.
absolutely hit here. Earns you a damage on your Frothing Berserker, and he's already down, Magkey's already down a weapon, so
So Mackey's actually gonna go out and use the Lava Burst on the Frothing. And you don't want it to get out of hand. You probably expect your opponent might play something like Reaper the following turn, just because of the way the game's gone,
yeah,
right?
we see that things are very clunky for Magkey, so I think he just wants to, value his life very high.
It does have the thing from below though, and that's a
Yeah.
really big swing on a turn like this.
Thing from below kind of fell out of favor, but I like seeing a lot of people playing that alongside Manatee Totems and a lot more mid-rangey Shaman strategies.
It can still be a 0 mana 5/5, like
Yeah,
all the times.
yeah,
That's still good in an
that's
aggro
still
deck
fine.
sometimes,
Once
right?
you stabilize the board, you're good.
And has
Yeah.
taunt, so it protects a lot of your other minions. And we do see Mackie over here. We see Mana Tide as well. That's not really a card I've seen a lot. So this is more of a mid-range build with the pirates as well.
Yeah, it could just be mid-range of pirates, which is fair.
Yeah. So he's gonna go ahead and develop the golem there instead of playing the thing from below. What do you think? Just
Uh,
wants to save it from getting killed by the Reaper.
yeah, the problem is it's going to work very heavily against them here because they have Pirate Warrior and specifically Face Warrior, as we've seen upgrade in Arcanite Reaper. They have access to things like Mortal Strike. They have access to Finley, which can get you multiple sources of damage. Putting through the taunts at this point, often doesn't get there, as we see is going to happen here because he has
Yeah,
a bunch
Mortal
of
Strike is
aggro.
gonna be lethal next turn, and just like that, wow, Pirate Warrior. We saw. I really love the play from Genesis here. If we go back a few
Absolutely.
turns, some of the plays like going face with that Warx one of the turns, and then making sure all of the charges not trading to the 1/1. Really realizing that faces the plays and just knowing the game plan.
Yeah,
Honestly,
he knew what his hand was capable of doing, and then he followed through with it as the
yeah.
draws allowed them to.
Faces the place, and Jess is going to take game one with his Pirate Warrior over Magkey's Shaman.
It's very solid.
Yeah, I mean, wow. This is maybe we have a rising star in the Hearthstone community right here. Jens is playing really well today. I really love. Obviously, his hands have been pretty prime, and we haven't really seen a lot of positions that he's been in where he has to make really tough decisions just yet.
Yeah,
But when you can effectively play your decks, that's a really important
that's
skill.
all you need sometimes. You
Yeah,
don't have to you don't have to have fancy hands. You just have to have hands that work and understand what to do with them.
exactly. Alright, so Mackie is going to open up again with the Shaman. Jess is going to go to Reno Warlock.
It's a good counter to his shaman deck. It's very safe positioning, and also this hand in general is very, very solid versus shaman.
Yeah, pretty strong opening for Magkey though. Look, you get to play the small time Buccaneer. You can go into own goal on turn 2 as
Yeah.
well. So you do get some early pressure in.
I feel like we didn't get to see a lot of on the one side of Genesis is drawing extremely well, like Magkey drawing patches doesn't let us show how effectively
Yeah,
he
it's
can draw.
not. It's a skill in itself is not drawing
Yeah,
patches. So we'll have to see how he does that throughout the series here. Do you like just playing the peddler here?
yeah, he wants to just like regain the board. He doesn't really have a lot of resources to do that, but
What do we
it's
like? Like Worgen or Imp, right? Goes for the Worgen.
yeah, Worgen's relatively the same as the injured, so it's kind of just like develop something that can trade up into a minion.
Hmm.
He doesn't know if he wants to Earthring Farseer. It could just as easily like draw Reno on his next draw, and then he would have access to tap and one drop, and then be able to maintain the same board.
So this play to me, coin out Feral Spirits really reads as he wants to protect the small time Buccaneer, right?
Absolutely.
Because you could play Tone Golem as well, and then you're really letting the peddler have really good trades,
Yeah.
and he really doesn't want that.
Outside of that, if he didn't have maybe Spirit Claws or a good follow up, this draw would seem very clunky because you can just as easily like play the Totem Golem and coin it next turn, and then it would survive Hellfire. But this could be a really good bluff on Magkey's side.
Yeah, I mean honestly, it just if he had Spirit Claws there, like,
Yeah.
that would have been great. But misses out a little bit. So so Jesse does pick up the freshman vendor,
Yes.
choosing not to use the Hellfire right now.
He probably just wants to get a little bit more value out of his minions,
Hmm.
which is fair. That was a very effective Hellfire though.
What do you think about like Jade Lightning here?
Jade Lightning is very good. Jade Lightning allows your patches to get that much more value, and it also shuts off things like Mortal Coil going forward outside after he gets rid of the 1/1. Um,
And it's a pretty, I think it's like a more mid-range build.
yeah,
We see Manti, we see Thing from Below, so there might even be something like Aya in the deck. There might be a little bit more of the Jade mechanic in there.
he might rule out Hellfire now since he didn't choose the Hellfire on 4 and went for the Refreshment Vendor instead.
Yeah, I would definitely expect no Hellfire after seeing like double Feral Spirits and everything.
Yeah,
So Mackie is gonna take his time
yeah.
here with this decision. Yeah, the other plays you could be thinking of, you could be thinking Totem Golem, Hero Power, for developing the board, because your Thing from Below is still 6 mana.
Yeah,
He's thinking about Hex
hexing
though.
it.
Now that is interesting minion to hex.
It's
When
very interesting.
you are expecting things like Sylvanas in this deck,
Yes,
Giants,
tons of
Twilight
Spirits.
Drakes, like big things that are very hard to get past. What do you think about that?
He's probably going to try and take a really aggressive route this game. I don't think I don't know how much information he's taking into consideration for whether or not his opponent has Reno in hand, um, because he's very far from killing him in the long run. But he wants this Jade Lightning to go face as a result. That's what using the Hex is telling us.
Does get the Kazakhs pushing there? Oh yeah, I mean, if he's gonna follow his line and stay true to what he's been playing, he's probably playing Flames on here too,
Yep.
right? Probably Flames on face. What do you do after this sense? Like, do you play Totem Golem then?
Yes. Because it stays consistent with his like lack of consideration for Hellfire. You see, ignores. I would, at the very least, I think you can trade here. It only saves 1 damage and it doesn't change your clock at all.
So the only thing here is if he doesn't want to get overloaded, because next turn he could double Lava Burst in case that Genesis does tap, right?
Yeah.
So that's like the only that's like a consideration
What
in terms of
does
that.
hmm. Does that really help your situation though? Any AoE keeps you away from being able to double lava burst, right? Short of Hellfire, of course. But if you Hellfire, is just as good as dead.
Yeah, no, I understand the play though, because like now he can do this, but the Kazakus potion is just much better.
Yeah.
So he gets to actually use the Kazakus potion here, picks up that hexed minion actually, and here, okay, so he is running Aya as we kind of alluded to earlier, and makes a lot of sense in this deck. Now Mackie has a great turn though. You can Totem Golem tap and use Stain from Below.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem is you're kind of outside of that. I'm gonna kill you in one turn sort of thing now
Yeah.
because you lost the board.
He sort of made his statement at this point by hexing an innocuous minion like
Yeah.
refreshment vendor. So he's gonna try and prioritize these lava bursts so that
He's
he
in a
doesn't
great
overload
spot
himself
right
with like
here, though.
double
I mean,
spells.
look at this. I mean, you might have to. Okay, Susan could go with Brandon ERF. Yeah, because no Reno still in hand and just really
Yep.
needs something to like make sure he doesn't die immediately.
And we see now this could be it if he doesn't power overwhelming, but he
And he
does.
is going to power overwhelming. So Genesis, some heads up
Yeah,
plays right here, really keeping on. Probably knows that he's been holding on to Llama Burst for a long time.
absolutely. And I think this is more this really solidifies for Magkey that there's no Reno in hand, so he might just go for it here.
And if you are going for it, what is your play here? Are you lightning? Or you?
Yeah, I think it's lightning and thing from below. It presents a board that he has to deal with, and it also allows you to go hero power for spell power totem
Mhm.
into double lava burst.
Yeah, Aya like is obviously seems like a lot of value, but at the same time, what's it doing for you,
Yeah,
right?
realistically nothing because you can just
Yeah,
play it
because
after
he
an
can trade
AoE if
into
you
it,
want
and
to.
then if he has a good clear, he's still gonna be able. You won't have anything afterwards.
Absolutely.
I do like lightning though, and I want to see it, but at the same time, Mackie might be like, I might hang on to it for post Reno, but is that really a match you can really win at that point?
Not at this point now that he's
Okay.
used the hex.
All right, so there we go.
There
There's
you
the
go.
lightning. Very heads up play from Mackie using the J lightning, hitting Genesis right in the face, and Genesis doesn't pick up anything that he needs. So what is the play here? Like you can Siphon Soul, maybe the 5/5.
He could Siphon Soul and clear the 3/4, which would leave him at 2. But he still plays in the spell power totem. He still plays in the bolt. He still
It
plays in
still
the
seems like the play
secondary
though,
claws.
right?
Yeah.
You really wish you had like someone you could taunt up right now, because you do have
Yes.
the Sun Fury, but you don't actually have anything to use it with. He's gonna still play the Sun Fury here.
And trade off the 1/1s. This is a fair play, I think.
Yeah, the Tone Golem like still has to get. It can only attack 1 minute at a time, right?
Yeah.
So it's sort of what they're going for there.
His second hex.
I think you have to just like Aya Hero Power here, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, he wasted his spell power roll.
You're close. Just two off right there, Mackie, with the spell power, both lava bursts going there. But here's Dirty Rat's pretty good draw too.
That's a very good draw here. He's probably tempted to go for Hellfire if he's making this play.
So yeah, if he Hellfires can play the Dirty Rat afterwards as well,
Yeah.
you're definitely thinking those cards in hand are spells at this point. But is it still worth the Dirty Rat flip?
Yeah.
Okay.
The even if it just matches up well against the board as well. Like how are you gonna beat like a charge minion? Like if he has South Sea deckhand that he was holding on for whatever
So
reason.
decides to hold off. There's a
7/7.
fire resistance.
Oh,
Oh, got a
there you
spell
go.
power. Double Lava Burst is going to take it. Magkey is going to win that game over Genesis. And let's go back to that play. The Hex on the 3/5 on the Refreshment Vendor. That sort of changed the whole dynamic of the match, and it really allowed him to keep pressuring, and Genesis didn't find Reno. So I think it was heads up in the sense that, like, okay, I know I can't win the game if Reno comes out. So I just had to do whatever I can and not even think about that.
Yeah, he understood which line he wanted to take. There were a lot of decisions that he had available to him, but being able to like have that broader range of damage to deal, I think was important, especially considering how many taunts there are. And as
Yeah,
a result, like even if it wasn't the mathematically the best play on his part, it allowed his opponent to play differently, which worked in his favor, which is very
definitely.
heads up.
Yeah, I mean, both players playing pretty well. Genesis also, like, kind of doing everything he could to stay out of lethal
Yeah, yeah,
range,
yeah.
but sometimes you don't find Reno.
Genesis as well had a very good read with the powerful one play,
Yeah,
with the Hellfire plays, and then he just like got spell power rolled, which gave it a little bit more reach. There are a lot of scenarios there where he goes to 1 and then finds Reno Jackson on his next draw. So, what do you like here versus?
oh, I mean, life tap, right?
I
Yeah.
think so. It's life tap every time. Let's take a little bit of consider, like maybe a lot of the times, I think, from what I've noticed at LANs and tournaments in general, a lot of players spectating one another and finding out what decks they're playing ahead of time. Maybe a
Hmm.
bit of consideration since we know that it's Jade Druid to take Fire Blast and just like try and clean up the board with this hand. But he already has
Yeah,
War Axe in
same
hand.
time, you can rush down J Druid,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And and the Dragon Warrior is able to really just put on the pedal to the metal a lot of the times. So I kind of like just doing that.
absolutely.
What do you think about here about Fairy Dragon?
I like holding Fairy Dragon for a while just to have a guaranteed enabler Warax is also awkward to develop here, whereas on turn 3, if you don't draw Frothing Berserker, you get Tap and Buccaneer.
Hmm.
And I really like Tap in the Druid matchups because it helps you find like all the bigger minions and the
True,
data.
especially like when you need dragons in your hand, right? For
Yeah.
Blackwing Corruptor and things like that.
Um,
I do think the Fairy Dragon's great here is because a Druid doesn't have a good way to deal with it. You
exactly.
know,
Yeah.
just it's like you
Between
can't target spells at it. So what am I gonna do?
it might be more of a consideration for Fandral just to
True,
have insurance for that.
definitely. Right here, the Justice does have Innervate available. He's gonna go ahead, Innervate Coin and Azure Drake.
Uh, So we see the Fairy Dragon play is going to work out really well for Magkey because he gets the War Axe, he gets his patches, he gets a draw out of his deck,
Oh yeah.
which is the same as tapping in this
Yeah,
situation.
this is great.
Yeah,
You could use patches. It's actually effective in the match. You know, cleans it up board, and now look at your board.
yeah.
You have 7 power on board all of a sudden. Where's it? So is able to use the living roots here. Now from here though, it's gonna be just tough. You know, you did use your innervate, and it didn't really stick a minion
Yeah,
onto the board,
it's
right?
tough to interact with the Fairy Dragon, which I think is why he went
Yeah.
with that line of play on turn 2.
And then like you're gonna have a thing like frothing come out here,
Exactly,
and
double frothing.
yeah,
Yes,
so
very
you
very good.
you better deal with this board soon, right?
We also have several turns before Genesis is even able to play anything. We see a lot of like 6 and 7 drops in his
And
hand.
now like you can't even like really play brand defensively because you don't want frothing to get big, right?
Exactly.
I think here though we will see the J Blossom even though it does create the golem just
Yeah.
because it's kind of awkward in that sense, but like you still play it.
With the double berserker, I think this
Oh,
might be it.
ooh, yeah. You do we still frothing here?
I would
I like tap and
100%
frothing,
frothing.
right? Tap and
Yes,
frothing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the important thing to note about Magkey's read on the druid is that he's not effectively using his mana, and he's also down an innervate that he used on the Azure Drake. So you
Yeah.
just want to develop like a bunch of minions that need the work put in for them in the early game, and you can always sit back on this Corruptor. Like Corruptor into Trusher is
And
always
go
fine.
face a lot
Yeah,
of times too. Make your trades a little bit easier.
exactly.
Now okay. He's just gonna use the axe here. I like this though. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. Double
100%.
frothing on board. Next turn, you already have a Blackwing, so you know they're gonna get pumped up even more.
This is looking very, very good for Magkey.
I mean, if Aya gets played, you're dead, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah. So this is lethal. You can just trade, pump up both Robins. You can trade like twice,
Yep.
right? With your minions, and every time they do that, they're going up by
But
you're gaining 4 attack on board.
we'll see if Magkey notices it, which he should. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Way more than
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
All right, so Magkey is gonna spot this lethal. Going back here, like I really loved the way he played that match. Especially with the Fairy Dragon play.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
know you were considering like holding on to it, but I just thought the development of his hands it really allowed him to go next turn small time Buccaneer and Fiery War Axe, so it really kind of worked out
Yeah,
for
it
him.
gives him a broader range. You could take a little bit of a more conservative line if you wanted to draw cards, but I really like just putting in that aggression.
Yeah.
There are a lot of aggressive routes for these warrior decks to take, and I like the way that he just like pressured his opponent.
So Mackey's up 2-1 now. We know Genesis got out to a hot start in that first game, but it's been a little tough. Has
Yeah.
really tough draws, especially in that Druid game we just saw.
The Reno Mage versus the Druid matchup is a little bit more favored for
Yeah,
Genesis,
this is
however.
one of the matches that Druid is very happy to
Yeah.
have, right?
This is
Especially
why a lot of people are bringing Druid. A lot of people not bringing Druid this tournament.
so Genesis does go ahead and keep Fandral in hand with the Innervate. I think that is a mini a lot of people like to keep with Innervate.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's also like at the same time you're not digging for your ramp, right? As much.
Uh, I think I think that just as a general rule of thumb, you're always digging for ramp with Druid. But if he finds, for example, if he finds the wild growth off his mulligan, or he finds like his Jade idols, he's gonna want the choose effect off Fandral with it.
Yeah, when you're keeping Fandral on Innervate, you're definitely doing this. You're innervating it out on turn 2.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this is where this mage deck can kind of struggle because it doesn't really do anything for a
Yeah,
few turns,
exactly.
right?
He doesn't have to have synergy with the Fandral. He just has a threat, which is very
Yeah.
important, and he can figure that out later.
What do you like here? There's a few options. You could coin out a courier, something of that line. You could actually just pass, kind of, and ping,
Yeah,
right?
I like just pinging.
Because
It
you're gonna
sets up
play
for
water
coin
elemental.
waller elemental.
Hmm.
It's a lengthy way to deal with the Fandral, but it is an efficient way to deal with it, I think.
I like this. Honestly, I like using the living roots here just because it puts pressure on,
Yeah.
and you want to get some Fandral value.
Yeah, we've established that he's on like
Yeah.
some sort of a beatdown
Yeah.
plan if he kept Fandral within an innervate draw.
Unfortunately for him, if you had water elemental, so you would have been able to like do some really nice trades with that.
Yeah.
But actually, like look here, Mackey's gonna take this other line, volcanic potion, and then arcane blast,
Yes.
clear up the board.
This is pretty decent.
Gotta get rid of Fandral, right?
Fandral is way too important.
Yeah.
I personally enjoy Raven Idol in my Druid decks, so I like to keep my
Are you
Fandral
still
sets
playing Raven
people
Isle, yeah?
with Jade Idols. With Jade Idols, you got to get that Fandral out of play. Like the potential to top deck is just so important on this deck, and we
And
see it
nourish
now.
too,
Yeah,
something like that could happen. Right here, the Magkey. I mean, as you can see, the Druid didn't have a response to that play.
yeah,
So now they're kind of just like, wow, okay, just playing a Jade Isle just for a 1/1 on turn 5.
exactly. It's kind of underwhelming, but we see a lot of the times where like that Fandral sticks one extra turn and it just really pays off for him, which is what he was digging for in the
Oh
first
yeah.
place. Do you like saving the courier for the brand?
I like using it for a carrier or something, right? That at least some value out of it. Kazakus might come into play in this match too.
Yeah.
If we do get to the late game, this is very interesting here using the Soulcaster on this.
I think he
But
just wants to develop the board
yeah.
going into turn 6 and 7 for Ancient of War
Well, I mean,
and
could have
Jade the
also
King.
gone for intellect. That's probably an option as well. If you know the druid's slow, and if you play as slow as a druid, you can usually win as a
Yeah.
mage. Mage isn't gonna rush druid down here. That's sort of my thinking.
I think just as a general rule of thumb, for these control style decks, you want to like have the draw last and develop the board more because it's a lot more difficult for you to develop the board, especially now. Like he can clear out the board, and then now he can develop brand courier, which is
Hmm.
underwhelming against swipe. We know he doesn't have a lot of small minions in hand, so if he wants to develop something, it's really frustrating for him. I
This is
would,
gonna.
however, have liked to see the brand come along with this, though.
And what do you pick here?
Probably Holy Nova. Oh, bless you. But now he has full command on the board, which is pretty fair. Oh,
Well, this is one of those things like yeah. So the mage is still going to face. I mean, Soya can do some weird things like Pyroblast, right?
yeah, this is really bad if his opponent has swipe. So I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah. It kind of feels like Magkey thinks that they can deal enough damage, but I don't think it's
Yeah,
actually going to happen in this matchup.
he might just want to let his opponent make the trades, but that's really poor against his Manic Soulcaster and this as well.
Is this the part where the J Druid's starting to, like, starting to establish some board presence and starting
Yes,
to get those J Golems up in value, and it's really hard for Mage to deal with that.
I think this is really going to come down to whether or not Genesis finds swipe in this matchup.
I guess we're drawing first, right?
Do
You
we?
could also Fireball Ping.
Yeah,
That's an option as well. That's actually pretty nice.
I've
Fireball
actually
Ping, take out the 4/4 and the 3/6.
considering how he's gone, how both players have gone this round. I think it's consistent with Magkey's like overall strategy so far to actually play the Ink Master here. Play the Ink Master Fireball
Hmm.
and then just hit the 3/3 and push 3.
Yeah, I guess like a lot of people like to hold on to Inkmaster until there's like the best value in the world, like
Yeah,
Kazakus Potion. But this is fine. It's
yeah,
still like a
yeah,
Firelands portal that's summoning a 5/5.
exactly.
It's doing one more damage.
We'll see. He's gonna think it over pretty heavily. I'm also interested to see where he chooses to go with this brand. He might be very committed to
Huh.
coupling the brand with
Go for
the.
Holy Nova play actually. So this is pretty interesting.
Yes,
So saving the Holy Nova got some value, but not a ton, right?
not really a ton.
Yeah.
Whereas like developing the Ink Master.
And this for Genesis can really start to turn the match.
Yeah,
We're starting to play our Jade Golems. A thing like Bran into Jade Spirit later is gonna be a really big swing. Those are the turns we have to look at.
absolutely. Magkey's gonna have to start digging for like some big AoE
Well,
spells.
yeah, he needs his big clears. He needs like some of his answers. Like he hasn't drawn really all game, right?
Yeah.
And Mage runs out like sometimes they have to use a lot of their resources, and it's not really good for him, right? And if the Druid continues to draw, something like Auctioneer and Genesis hand is gonna be really big.
They're also all one-ofs, which is gonna be like it's gonna be difficult to find a specific answer, especially like you
Yeah.
get several like different types of answers clunked in and they just don't work together.
So I would definitely like to see Intellect here and sort of start to dig a little bit through this
Yeah.
deck.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, this is a neat play. I mean, we talked about last turn. I think it would have been a little bit better last turn actually, just
Yeah.
on the based on the board state, because now this 5/5 contests, everything that you're gonna do here.
Now he just gets a free trade on the 3/4 to protect his board, or he just trades it straight up.
Genesis not going for the value trade there.
Yeah.
Just I mean, I understand because you can sense that your opponent really wants to kill you,
Yeah.
like very fast. All right, now tell me we are gonna Arcane Intellect this turn, right?
I certainly hope so. There's a lot. Like there's a lot he has to draw into at this point. Blizzard
Whoa.
Doomsayer just like giving a free turn, which
Do you
was
do you feel that threatened by an Ancient of War?
I'm not
Or is it
sure.
more to gain the board and then do something like Archmage Antonidas
Yeah.
and Intellect?
He I think he wants to save the intellect for the Antonidas at this point.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's probably what's going on here. Just wants to gain the board presence, not let the Druid actually put more minions down on the board.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting play because later on in the match, you probably get a ton of value.
Yeah, gaining that free turn with both the Blizzard and the Doomsayer together against a bunch of 7/7s as opposed to 1/5/10. Um, probably would have been fine. But this Antonidas has to be a good draw. Like now the Antonidas theoretically can go
Oh.
uncontested.
So thinking about just getting rid of it. You like this?
I think I do. This was a very underwhelming combo play by Magkey, and it kind of prompts Genesis to try and like maintain the board that he already has where he's ahead, while it allows him to develop something else alongside it.
And you gotta could be like a little bit curious
Yes,
of why are you just Blizzard
absolutely.
Doomsayer, an Ancient of War?
Yeah, like
Aren't you gonna say that for my giant board at J Golf?
exactly.
It's like what's going on? What are you up to?
Something's up.
Yeah. All right, here we go. We're gonna see Archmage Antonidas come down. We are going to see Arcane Intellect as well. So picks up the Fireball. Gonna go Sylvanas Reno. Very nice draws right there.
Yes,
Sylvanas Fireball is kind of like a fun little combo. If you
this
want
is.
to
I think this
get
is
rid
going to
of
be
some.
difficult for Magkey going forward. Oh, now we see the fireworks going off.
So he's gonna make the 7/7 there. Going to be able to take out Antonidas as well. And this is a board that I want to use Doomsayer and Blizzard on,
Absolutely.
right? He has Reno, but what does Reno really get you here?
Really nothing, honestly.
What do
I
you think?
guess
I mean, it's a decent Flame Strike. It's not the worst. 7/7 would still be alive.
it's a fair flame strike, and I
Yeah.
think it's the play that he has to make because it
Yeah.
allows him to like play into Torch. It allows him to brand Kazakus and use one of the 1 mana spells to clear off the 7/7. There's a 7/3 now.
And you can't leave Auctioneer on the board, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But now all of the area effect spells are gone.
Oh yeah,
So
you
now he'll
see
just
you
go
see
in.
Flame Strike,
Yeah.
you're playing Bran and
Everything.
Jade Spirit immediately. I mean, this is like, look, this isn't even enough to keep you alive, is it? You can't even. Can you even Reno here?
How much is it? 19, 26,
He's one
28,
off,
28,
right?
29? Yeah.
He's only one off.
With the Drake, with 2 draws off the Drake.
Yeah.
Hmm. What do you do if you're Magkey here?
I don't know. Maybe let's go Kazakus Potion, but that still doesn't feel
Almost,
great.
almost certainly. Nothing else really
It's either go
saves
go
you here.
5. Kazakus Potion has to freeze and deal damage.
Yeah,
Is that really the play right here?
it might have to be.
I think that's all you can do. This is the thing with Reno Mage. If you don't run into Ice Block and get like the awesome Reno stuff, so he's gonna Reno here, but
He's gonna Reno Fireball, I believe.
it's just it's just not a lot of damage.
Okay, he's gonna play into the one draw.
Did you see that? Interesting. So yeah, he's gonna make him draw. You definitely just nourish here for cards, right?
Yes. Well, he gets draws off the Drake, so perhaps.
Oh, because of Brand. That is correct. Yeah.
Oh, he whiffs.
That's a very interesting play. Still in a good spot though, the J Druid, just based on what you get to do here.
Absolutely. It's gonna be really tough for the Reno Mage no matter what happens.
You healed up to 30 last turn, but now I'm taking you back down to 9.
Yep.
Right? So not a lot. And he probably thinks it's over. Actually, he probably thinks his Pyroblast in hand or something.
Yeah. Which it very well could be on
It
top.
could be a Pyroblast off the top, but that would end it. Anything else? You know what? Firelance Portal can do it too. You can Firelance Portal into a charge
Into
minion.
a charge minion. That's true.
that is the out. I think
I think that's the line we're
it might
going
be
with
it
here.
might be the line. Your other plays are Kazakus for a 5-mana potion, like we said earlier, but even then, it has to freeze like the correct 3 minions and get 4 damage. So you get 4 damage and freeze.
Yeah.
So that would freeze all the minions on board. Is that worth it, or is it the portal?
It has to be the portal. Like he already decided on his line when he fireballed face. He has to go for the portal into the charge minion.
All right,
Here
here it comes.
he goes for
The
it.
ultimate Firelance Portal. Is he gonna get it?
Oh,
He did not.
Almost.
It just got a 4-2
Archer
instead.
Commander was almost enough.
It was so close. All right. Well, Genesis takes that one. He's gonna go tie up this series 2-2. So we'll go down to this last match between Genesis and Magkey. Magkey is still gonna be on this mage, but Genesis, I believe, is going to be on the Warlock now, right?
Yes. Yes. This is actually pretty favorable for the mage because of the access to Ice Block and Reno Jackson to stop the Leroy combo. So you're gonna see Genesis really trying to pressure things, which he sees he can now. He has Twilight Drake that he can cast on 4. And Twilight Drake for Magkey as well.
They both have Twilight Drake. Okay, so if you are the Warlock and you know it's a little bit tougher because of things like Ice Block and Reno, what do you do in that sense? Do you have to rush down a little bit?
Yeah, you have to pressure a little bit more. He has the resources to do that, but knowing ahead of time that you're playing a control mirror allows you to tap a little bit more, allows you to save things like Mistress of Mixtures, for the later game.
I feel like this matchup sometimes, a lot of times, the mage wants to take it to fatigue, right?
Yes.
They want to take it to the very, very late game.
Yeah, they
And
just want to run you out of
Warlock
resources.
just doesn't have any resources left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The important part about the mage deck is that it's capable of generating more resources from outside the game through things like Kabbalah's Tome. Both players are going to try and play for a good Kazakus, as we see now. Now Magkey has Brand and Kazakus. It could just as easily come down to a really effective Kazakus roll.
Interesting here. It likes to tab and play Misters. You could have also coined the Drake out there.
Yeah.
A lot of players may have gone with that line. I kind of like, the way he's tapping here. Just make sure he's have a lot of resources.
I agree.
It's gonna be a slower game.
I agree. He wants the coin is much more important than the Mistress could ever be.
Yeah.
And it also gives him access to coining the Emperor if he wants to.
And we see Dirty Rat as well.
Yeah.
So Dirty Rat might come into play and steal Reno, perhaps, or steal a combo piece.
Yeah.
Like Leroy. It's gonna be kind of one of those plays you really have to prey on.
There's a ton of Battlecry triggers that Genesis would hate to miss out on. So. Oh, but Genesis has Jiraxis as well. This could be a very good way to earn back the advantage from Magkey.
Yeah, the thing is, we've seen Magkey has Firelance Portal though and some burst, so you really have to play Draxus
Yeah.
super late after that burst has been used to kill the minions.
Yeah,
You know?
this is Jiraxis is a very good fatigue plan, I think.
Yeah. All right, but here, I mean, Tome doesn't feel good, right? Because you're just not doing anything. So is he just
No.
gonna go ahead and Kazakus now? Could have Kazakus for 2 next turn.
Yeah, I really like Kazakusing for 2 in these control mirrors. It's just free card advantage because you know it's gonna go that late. Like even to go so far as to just like Manic Soulcaster, maybe your Twilight Drake,
Hmm.
just to have an extra threat on the board would have been fine. But what is this like? What is this Kazakus really doing for you in the long run?
And Kenny didn't kill this 410 either.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you like here? You could coin out Abyssal if you wanted to. Um,
It's pretty clean,
it's clean. It's like okay, then your minions, their health, are they vulnerable at that point? The Drakes are a little vulnerable, right?
but you still have the 6/6.
Yeah,
Do
you
you,
still
do
have
you
the
feel
six
that
six
that's
on
worth
board
it?
even after a Flame Strike.
I can
So
get behind that. I think.
it's not bad. You can also go with the Emperor as well. It's protected by a taunt, so you might even like
Yeah,
be like, okay, I can probably get 2 charges or something off of it.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Team Rap's also pretty good. You wish you had Mortal Coil with it or something though. You
It
know,
would be
then you could
a lot
really,
easier to just
yeah,
get rid of this entirely. But it does protect the the faceless shambler
yeah.
from
So
being
so
turned
there
into.
there was an interesting player here. Decide to go face there instead of trading. Do you think that's just gonna make the other opponent trade or play around Flame Strike or something?
I think it just values the Twilight Drake higher than the faceless shambler here,
Okay.
which we see is probably gonna wind up getting punished because he'll trade into the 6/2.
Yes, I mean slightly punished there, but I definitely understand the line of thinking there. Now here, I mean, I think Emperor comes down,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Especially with Jiraxis, as we've said
so strong.
before, it's
Draxus,
really good getting
Nether,
Jiraxis.
bunch of spot removal spells. He still has Peddler in hand, which is going to be very important.
Now, if we're looking at this, so Magkey with the portal there is gonna have some answers, but still hasn't found Reno and still hasn't found, interesting. Still hasn't found Ice Block, so
Yes,
still
yes,
vulnerable to some of that damage.
and both players can realize that now because
Yeah.
he's not like he would play an ice block as we get into the stages where like where Antonitis, Alexstrasza, and like Firelands Portal would come into play.
Yeah, so he really wanted to use Emperor later in the game on a combo piece.
Yes.
That's the reason we didn't see it come down
Yep.
last turn right there. This is pretty nice though. This is pretty good. Gets to play the Azure Drake and the Forgotten Torch right here.
It's very
Cleans it up nice.
clean
And
turn.
now Emperor's like, okay, I got Leroy at least. I have
Yeah.
one piece of it, so I may see a bit more. But this is nice too.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity to brand Peddler here,
He gets a
pick
combo,
up
gets
a
an extra combo
PO,
piece.
which is pretty amazing. Oh, you can put
Oh,
a Weasel in. What do you think? Is that the right choice?
it's probably the right. They're all
I mean,
probably.
young Dragonhawk can do some stuff. We've seen it before. Get PO'd and
Yeah.
someone doesn't deal with it.
Dragonhawk is something he has to hero power, I
Yeah.
think, which is what's gonna offset Magkey in this matchup. So I really like it.
Hey, probably just play it now too.
Yeah,
And you can't leave it up. You know?
absolutely not.
Yeah. it's
One downside to this line is that like it's a clean flame strike turn
Oh yeah.
for.
Yeah,
So
you're
like
going into 9. You have Pain Flame Strike. You have to be a little worried about it.
he could even be considering dirty rat flame strike since
Hmm.
the Drake won't be touched. Fortunately, it's not in hand for Magkey, so he'll keep the initiative.
Well, he played it earlier on the Shambler and the Twilight Drake.
Ah, yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, that's right.
and the 6-2.
Yeah.
So that's when he was able to trade here. But Firelands Portal, yeah, nice and clean right there. Gets the Princess Huron. Does ping the 1/1.
Yes.
Doesn't want to dodge any shenanigans. Yeah. Oh man, maybe we'll see like a Dirty Rat MC Tech play or something. Yeah, we might see something along those
Maybe he's
lines.
still holding on to that brand.
Yeah. Emperor is going to come down here. Does have 2 combo pieces, so it's definitely a point where
Yeah,
you want to get the discount. And if we just pick up a Faceless, what is Magkey going to do? Doesn't have any defenses against the potential combo yet.
yeah. He also has he has an extra combo piece now to work with. So now he can make a little bit more flexible trades going forward.
I think we might see something like, I think we might see Dirty Rat. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is bold, though, doing the brand into Dirty Rat, but
Oh,
that did not work out, though, really. Because now you wanted to take out Emperor, right?
yes,
But now the Doomsayer, you don't want to give like the whole board right back.
that's true. There's. Oh,
Just
okay. So he's
cost
just
him
gonna
too.
forego it now. I think just like having the board be clear, seems favorable enough not to clear the Doomsayer on his part.
Hmm.
But now with Genesis having all the initiative and being able to develop something, it gets a little bit more awkward. Like we see, he just pick the Mountain Giant, so now he gets to tap Mountain Giant if he chooses.
Another PO
Yep,
too. It's getting very close. So that's like pretty tempting in a lot of these plays right now.
that's very close
Is there ever a moment that you just say, "All right, I haven't seen anything yet. I could just Jiraxis right now."
to deal the
Are
damage.
you, yeah, you ever considering it?
It's pretty tough because what happens? Like, there's so many other options. Like, we haven't. Have we seen Reno yet? We have not,
No,
right?
we haven't seen Reno. We haven't seen Ice Block either. So it's like kind of one of those things you definitely want to wait.
Yeah,
I think an 8-8 would be pretty safe, but Flame Lance is going to come down and clean this up
yeah.
very nicely. You even have some few options afterwards as well.
I think the important part is we're just always getting closer to that point where Genesis finds the damage that he needs to clean him, and it's a lot tougher for Magkey to find block in Reno than it is for
And
Genesis to find extra damage.
Spellbender could be pretty interesting because um, the PO, right?
Yeah,
The PO would actually change the target. Spellbender.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'd be pretty interesting. Little dynamic right there. We'll see if like Mackie does sort
Magkey
of
just
pick up
like
on
buffs
that.
his guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna play the Spellbender, so it could actually ruin Genesis' day. And what are you playing around here? You gotta play around like a variety of mage secrets, right?
Siphons. Oh, yeah. On his part, well, he doesn't really have much to do, which I think is a big issue.
Hmm. Yeah, he's getting pretty close. It's tough to figure out if he's gonna dirty rat here. What are you doing after?
I think he dirty rats because he has the Siphon Soul in hand already, so it's a
Hmm.
clean answer for anything that like would come up.
Oh, you have Antonius to come out or something along that line.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so we do have this Kazakus potion. The Kazakus potion is gonna polymorph an enemy and then deal 4 damage to everything.
Yeah, but in what order is polymorph first? He chose. Yeah. Okay.
Well, it always does it in the best order, or the best order, air quotes,
Yeah,
as it can, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so it doesn't polymorph after that. This is nice here. You really want Antonius to stick,
Yeah, being
and
able to
allows you
develop.
to. There's not damage on board to take it out, right?
He's also got the protection of Spellbender, so
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Spellbender's there, so even a Siphon Soul, it's gonna
yeah,
kill 1/3 instead.
this could just be it.
All right, so he's probably gonna try to go for the lethal here. I mean,
Do you think he plays around Spellbender with his Mortal Coil?
oh, so he's gonna find out real fast that the Siphon Soul's not going to work, and
Oh, and that's gonna be it
that's gonna be.
because he still has the mana.
Yep, and that's gonna be the game. So really heads up play right there by Genesis again with the double PO. Wow, and we saw there in a tough matchup, the Reno Mage didn't find Reno,
Yeah,
didn't find Ice Block.
that's
Those
that's
things
what
that it really
that's what you
needs.
need to happen. Like you need them not to like put you back in this position. You need to just bide your time and you maintain your resources and not just blow all your resources on the
Yeah,
combo.
and honestly, I think we've seen really strong play from Genesis all day today, just based on everything. There was that match where he was preventing himself from being in lethal. There was that match at the end right
Yeah,
there, making sure the Siphon Soul, the ordering has always been correct. He checked for the secret first. So strong play from this player.
Mackey's always like the entire time that we've seen him, he's shown a very good control of his technical play, and it's very impressive.
Yeah. Guys, we're making it through the bracket here. I think we're gonna have some exciting matches up next. We're gonna take a real quick short break, and we'll
Yep.
be right back for this New York City Tavern Hero. See you soon.